And we are recording. First of all, thank you to everyone who has been watching all of the parts of this dark and terrible campaign. Today might be the final part. We shall see, but considering recent developments, it's most likely. Now, Josh, what are your expectations for this session?
Oh, that's a big one. Considering I believe the last thing we heard is "come and join us." So I imagine we're going to, both me and Aspen, make a very important decision somewhere below the surface here, and it's going to pretty much affect the entire land, possibly. There's several things I'd like to do, but I kind of feel like on this path we're on that we might not make it out to do those things. Like the Brotherhood, I'd like to catch up with them, and of course everything with the orcs and the gnolls trying to get together. There seems like there's a lot left above the surface, but I'm not sure what'll happen at this point, to be honest. I'm just ready to take it on. We're going to avenge Espen's loyal henchmen and continue to move forward. Matthias, yes.
What about you, Crispy?
Well, Espen wants blood. Someone's going to pay for Matthias's sacrifice. So he's also his feet are tired. He doesn't like carrying a backpack, and he's very upset that this is all because he was supposed to deliver a letter, and this has just gone out of control. And he wants vengeance. He has a healthy dose of, I would say, righteous indignation for what's happened of late. That's Espen's expectation. He wants to wet his blade on the blood of those that are responsible for this horrible situation that the entire region has been plunged into.
Understandable. Okay, and so it begins. You are now standing in this dark cavern. You can still see the path ahead thanks to these small whitish lights that only you can see.
Well, friend.
Nico, you still can't see those night lights? No? You can see them, right, Killian?
I can.
But our companions cannot.
How much longer do you have on that torch there?
I look over and check. But we still got some good time.
Good time.
All right.
I don't have anything else to light myself. We can keep an eye out, but we should probably move forward quickly.
Agreed. I'll take point. Nico, behind me. Let's move quickly. As quiet as we can. I'm not sure what's waiting for us here, but our greatest asset is surprise. Speed is of the essence.
Agreed. Sven, Luca, stay close. Let's move.
Espen draws his sword, and then not at a run, but at a quick walk, heads down the dark cavern, following these whitish lights.
I crouch and I pull my crossbow to my side and continue to slink behind Espen.
As you continue your path, it's obviously a long way to go. You have been marching for about an hour. Sometimes you hear rumbling above you, as if a great force, a great number of individuals are moving above you. And sometimes behind you, but above to the south, you can also hear another force. As you keep on going, you notice that there are tracks on the ground. Some of them seem quite normal, perhaps the tracks of humans, perhaps orcs. Other tracks are highly unusual. They seem to be tracks left behind by some sort of hybrid. The foot is shaped all wrong, like a bare human foot with some strange appendages, protuberances coming from the sides of the foot. And then you spot a corpse just to your left.
Stop. there's something here. Espen moves forward to the corpse, crouches down, checks to see human, hybrid, orc.
You immediately
Nico, bring
recognize,
that torch closer so we can take a look at this.
thanks to the corpse's proximity to the whitish lights guiding you and the torch, you immediately recognize that this used to be the same woman you saw in a vision back at the keep. The skeletal woman, the woman that seemed on the verge of death. She is now dead. Blonde hair stained with a bit of blood. Her entire frame is so tragic, so famished. And she has written something in her own blood, in her white shirt. It reads, "Lothian, sorry, I have failed you. Sky." And then it reads, "Dagon is a lie."
Dagon is a lie.
Killian, that letter that we retrieved from the lockbox, it was from Lothian to this woman, Sky. It sounds like she was on some kind of mission. Dagon is a lie.
I know it appears that Ranky started all this, but I'm just confused. Who's the mastermind at this point? I thought it might be a great evil entity. I'm still not sure it's not.
Well, in my experience, the greatest evil usually is what heart lies in the conspiring hearts of men.
Unfortunately, that's all too true, Espen.
I stand up, swish my sword through the air, and we can deal with men.
Your torch suddenly goes out. It is spent.
I can still see.
Sven, Luca, grab my robe. Let me lead you forward.
Good idea. I'll retrieve the rope, hand a end of it to Nico. Stay close by. We'll continue on our way.
You continue your march for hours. It seems, yes, it is certain you are heading northwest. Your compass is still working. The compass gifted to you by Counselor Anric. You suddenly reach a fork in the road. A path leads to the north, but there are no lights there. The guiding lights lead you towards the west. And you start to hear this rumbling just behind you. A great force is coming through the tunnel behind you.
Quick. We've been following the lights this far.
Indeed.
Killian, let's keep on following them. What say you?
All right, I'm following you. I begin to walk forward.
We're going to have to
Turn,
push the
watching
pace. It sounds like
behind us.
something's coming up behind us. We'll risk, we may risk a fall here and there, but we have to move quickly.
Push forward. I'll guard the rear.
You
Picking up
continue
the
your
pace.
path, and now it is leading westwards. But you still hear this sound of, it's an army. It is most likely an army coming behind you. You continue and the hours pass by. You are getting tired. If you feel that if you do not camp soon, your effectiveness won't be so good.
Killian, we're almost spent. Tired, hungry, my feet hurt. We need to find maybe we can find some alcove here in this cavern that seems to go on without end. Just so that whoever's marching behind us doesn't walk over us. Or do we push forward, risk injury, but then arrive at our destination spent? I think if we can find some place to hide, some
Definitely.
alcove or some place where we can rest for a moment, eat something and sleep.
With
Been
those
hours.
numbers, our only prayer, like you said, is going to be surprise. So we need to make sure whatever we do, we keep that. I look around. quickly moving forward to see if I see any type of possible junction or point we can possibly hide.
This section of the caves is too exposed to everyone.
Oh, it's no use. We can't stop here. We must keep going.
As you continue, you finally reach another fork. 3 paths lie before you, to the north, to the south, and one continues west with the guiding lights.
Let's take a dark path. Just long enough that we can maybe camp. We've been following the lights thus far, and the army's marching behind us.
That's an interesting choice, and I agree with it.
North, south, or west? North or south? They're both dark.
North.
North? Agreed. Let's move north into the darkness now. You and I can't see. We'll have to be a little slower now. If we can just move forward a little bit.
Yeah, we don't need to go far, I would assume. I'd like to keep an eye on whatever's behind us anyway, if possible.
I'll look and see. It looks like I have 2 torches left. We'll take a torch out, ready it, but not light it. We'll just stay in the darkness here. Hopefully nothing will come across us as we rest.
It's a risk we'll have to take.
As you make your way into your hiding place, you can hear the force approaching. You can hear snarls and guttural voices. You can hear and they are approaching. Finally, you get a glimpse of what has been following you. You see a group of gnolls, and they are looking around everywhere, sniffing. They seem to be trackers. And they start to sniff in your direction. One of them enters your cavern slowly, sniffs again, and points, and then starts to apparently speak in your direction, but the language, it is impossible for you to understand it. It is a strange dialect, even for gnolls. It goes, sounds of yelps and growls, and suddenly you hear more humanoids approaching. You see this group of orcs with pinkish skin, and then you see orcs similar to the ones that you met before. And then one of those orcs of the pinkish skin approaches and says, "This is Grimrock. I know you are hiding there. Come out. We come to aid you because you have avenged the tribe of the Roughskid orcs."
The tribe of 8. Roughskins. Thank you.
Finally,
God.
some good luck.
Thank you, Lord Odin.
Espen will stand, sheathe his sword, which he had in hand, step boldly forward. You have found us, friends. We go to right the wrongs that have been wrought in this land.
Yes, we come to kill them all. We want to kill the Blood-Eye Orcs. We want to kill the Scorched Hand Orcs. And we bring the Fangring Gnolls to help. 50 in total.
A fine force. I'm impressed.
You've done well. This changes everything now, Esmond.
It does indeed, Killian. Now, my orc friend, you seem to know the way. Or were you just following us?
We were following your tracks. The gnolls are excellent. How do you say it? Trackers.
I look over at the gnolls and just nod. All right. There are some strange lights we seem to be able to make out. They head to the west. But we're spent. We've been marching for hours. We need to rest just for a little while.
Then we shall set up camp. We have rations. We will set up a perimeter.
We are in your debt.
You are now able to rest. The orcs enthusiastically offer their rations to you. They seem to be salted rodents.
Mm.
The water looks fresh, however, it seems to be taken from the river.
I'll drink deeply of the water and politely nibble at the rat. I'm not going to eat a full one, and I slap it out of Nico's hands before he can eat the whole thing.
Yes, eat up, brothers. It's time. This is the time for rest.
It is now the next day, and you are able to continue your path. The orcs and the gnolls are talking with each other, sometimes playfully punching each other, perhaps a bit too violent. And they are waiting for your orders. They seem to be waiting for your instructions.
Esben, the only thing that concerns me with such numbers is our surprise.
Agreed.
Possibly
We should
a way
scout
we can
ahead.
lead forward. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Espen turns to the orcs. Let us scout ahead. We'll whistle when it's time to attack. When we give you that signal, come with everything you've got.
A fine plan, then. Move on.
Very well, Esben.
Nico, let's go. Leave the backpack that I've hated carrying so far just on the side of the cavern so we can travel light and fast.
Sven and Luca, let's march ahead, just behind Esben.
Espen and Nico make their way a little more cautiously now.
You notice that the gnolls pick up the pack, and they start to follow you. You march for several hours again, westwards. Now you reach another fork leading to the north, but the lights point towards the west still. Suddenly,
Follow me these lights.
you hear a commotion, like some sort of ruckus behind you, and one of the gnolls seems to be talking with the leader of the orcs, Grimrock. And Grimrock starts to nod and approaches you and says, "The Gnoll scouts have mentioned something very interesting. It seems that these tunnels have been used to mobilize the forces of the Blood-Eye Orcs and the Scourge Hand Orcs."
The Knoll trackers, do they get any scent in that tunnel down there to the north? And I indicate the branch that does not have the lights.
"I'll go and check." You see the orc heading back towards the gnolls. The gnolls and the orc start to talk. And then the orc comes back and says, They seem to be smelling some sort of fishy-like substance. It is coming from all directions, but it is stronger to the west."
To the west it is then. Please have them let us know if that scent gets stronger or diverts from our path. That scent will lead us to where we want to go.
And so you continue. Now the path starts to veer slightly towards the south, and then completely southwards. The gnolls indicate that the smell has stopped, but you can notice that just in the ground, on the ground of this cavern, there is some sort of fluorescent substance, and it is obviously the source of this smell. It smells exactly like the liquid you have encountered in Lothian's tower.
We should warn our allies not to drink this.
Apparently. Is this the blood of the mighty Dagon? Very
Well, if it
interesting.
is, that means he does bleed, and whatever bleeds can die.
If they're using these caverns to mobilize their forces, they may have a great advantage.
Yes, those on the surface will have no idea. I sure hope our letter got to Jarlsberg.
Me as well.
Call over the orc. Beware this water. It's foul. It'll corrupt you. Make sure to pass along word.
I understand. And he starts to pass along the message.
You must be getting close now, Killian.
We have to.
Push
Onward.
on.
You continue southwards, and there are two paths, one leading to the southeast. Once again, the lights do not lead towards that path. The lights lead towards a path to the southwest, veering slightly southwest. As you continue, you now reach a huge gate in the middle of the tunnel. It is so massive, but there is a single symbol engraved on a plaque, the symbol of a diamond, exactly like the key you have found before.
Well, that's fortuitous. Pull out the key. Hold it in front of the gate. Seems as though we took the right path, Killian.
Indeed. I'm not quite sure what's behind that door, especially if it's from another dimension, but lead
Do you
on.
want to check first? Otherwise, I know how we'll find out.
I'll trust your instincts this time. Either way, there's only one way that we're going to get out of this. So.
Agreed. I call over our orc ally. We happen to have a key that we found. The emblems match this gate. Get ready to rush. If there's something waiting for us on the other side, we'll have to use our surprise. Step up to the gate with the key, insert it into the keyhole, and turn it.
As soon as you do just that, the gate almost automatically, perhaps through some sort of device or magic, it swings inwardly quite quickly. It swings into the next tunnel. And in the middle of that tunnel lies standing a huge man with such a burly body that it is 3 times the size of the largest orc in the army. And it is completely naked except for a loincloth, a huge metal mace, and a helmet covering his head. This helmet seems to be holding nothing inside of it. Through the slits, you can only see a small light, a reddish light, where the forehead should have been. The figure stands before you and says in a strange voice, "Why have you come here?"
We've come to banish the minions of Dagon. Do you answer to that foul name?
I am a neutral guardian. I believe we have met before.
We have. I'm sorry I'm at your loss. I'm at a loss as to, I thought I would remember someone of your stature. Perhaps in a vision?
I am not sure myself. Sometimes my memories get so confused. It is this place. The laws of the world above do not work the same down here. But I am certain there used to be another. You were 6, but you had no army with you that time.
That is true. We were 6. We're now 5. Are you must be one of the noble giants that used to roam these lands long ago.
Giants. That name sounds so nostalgic. But if so, something has happened to me. Giants. Perhaps I am, perhaps I was, but they were much bigger. It seems that something is happening to your friend. He seems to be in a trance.
It sometimes happens. He has gifts beyond what we can see with our eyes. But he'll come to. You're not yourself. Who's done this to you? Do you know?
I have no recollection whatsoever, but I am certain we have met before, perhaps 6 times.
Yes. You've been warning us, perhaps not even aware that you have been warning us. You would be a mighty ally in our cause. Perhaps we could find what has happened to your memories. Join us. I
Perhaps.
pour my
but
charm into every word.
I cannot move from this place. I am bound to it.
You a prisoner here, as mighty as yourself?
I have been tasked by someone to guard these gates, but I do not remember who or what.
Well, I have the key. So I am no thief. The doors opened easily when I used my key. Will you let me pass?
Yes, you may all pass. This is fated to be. But this is the first time that I have seen you leading an army of such creatures.
They have been wronged as well. We seek retribution. But I will remember your kindness, mighty giant. If it's within my power to restore your memories and remove you from this place, that you may pursue your own interests, provided that they do not conflict with me and mine, then perhaps we can help one another.
I fear that. What is that? I fear that you will die once more. Maybe I can do something to change that outcome. The shorter giant, rips out his small finger
Ooh.
and hands it to you. Take this finger and toss it against my skull. It should be around somewhere. It is much larger than me. Now I am remembering things. I am just a pathetic manifestation of my other size.
I bow deeply. I thank you for your kindness and will follow your instructions.
It seems that your friend is about to come out of his trance.
Yes.
I will try to make contact with him.
Thank you.
Yes, I think he will be able to follow you, but still in that trance state. You may pass.
Espen waves for the rest to follow him. I bow once again and place the finger in an inner pocket that used to have a letter in it. So we move past the Guardian deeper into this southwest corridor.
You can now see that the tunnel ahead goes downwards in a sort of spiral staircase, but the stone steps are so rugged and slippery.
Watch your step, everyone. We'll be again. Espen and his other allies will lead the way, carefully stepping on each slippery step.
And so you continue your descent. It is a long way down. You start to feel very tired. You are probably at least 100 feet below the current level at the gates. And finally you reach the bottom. It is a massive cavern. You cannot even fathom the exact dimensions of this place. You could house it seems, an entire kingdom in this place. But the guiding lights still continue marking your path. You are now extremely tired because of your journeys. You may press on, but you feel as if your body could suffer for it.
I'm not sure how close we are. Turn to my companions, paying attention to how they are looking, and then also the orcs and the gnolls beyond. Something occurs to me. I call the orc that we've been corresponding with in the past. I call him forward. Do you see lights in this cavern?
The orc looks around and says, "It looks like there are some parts of this place with a strange amber light."
We're spent. We've been marching now for hours. Before we press on, we need to rest.
Agreed.
Let's move a little up this staircase. Not so keen on resting in such a large, open cavern.
The orcs and the gnolls once again offer you their rations and their water.
Gladly accept the water. I politely decline on the rations. We still have a few of our own.
You are now finally rested. And as you prepare yourselves for the rest of the journey, the gnolls inform Grimrock, the leader of the orcs, that there is some sort of graveyard ahead. They point to a direction to the east, and the guiding lights lead through it.
Graveyard. They're smelling corpses.
It seems that Killian is still in his trance. It seems as if he had never even slept.
My companion, I turn to the orc. My companion here might require some assistance. Do you have a few that can help? Perhaps
Yes.
a couple larger. Yes.
A couple of my orcs to help him.
Thank you. The lights lead to where we need to go. I push forward towards the graveyard or through it.
As you make your way into the graveyard, you notice that these tombstones are quite puzzling. Some of them look ancient. Some of them are relatively new. Some of them are made out of wood. Some of them of some strange stone. Some of the slabs resemble some sort of crushed mixture of perhaps emeralds and amber. And there are mounds everywhere. Some of the graves seem to be piled up on top of each other. It is a very chaotic graveyard. The orc looks at the tombs and says, "We orcs do not build these sorts of burial sites. Is it common for you humans to create this?"
Not at all like this. This is way too chaotic. There's no rhyme nor reason to how they've done this. Different ages and materials. No, this isn't our doing. Or if it is, it's some madman. It is not according to our custom. How about the gnolls? Is it according to yours?
The orc looks at the gnolls, and they are equally puzzled. They have no idea. The orc communicates the following: "The gnolls have heard some legends of an ancient graveyard underground with skeletons of beings that existed, how would you say, many cycles before us."
Espen looks around at this news. He's looking specifically for large exposed bones, like the bones of a giant.
Suddenly, Killian disappears completely. And you start to hear messages in your mind. It's more like a vibration, a thought, rather than conventional communication. He says he has been called into this place. He can no longer help you, but he will try to assist you whenever possible. And his voice, his thought rather, fades away. There seem to be no bones exposed. Everything is underground, apparently, under the earth.
We've run into a graveyard before, I say to the orc. It had some kind of curse on it. And the dead rose, skeletons. They were relatively slow, but there were many of them. We had to quickly flee. I suggest that we run through this area, not delay at all.
Oh, that will not sit well with the gnolls and the orcs. We are proud in battle, but we shall do to honor the service that you lent to the rough-skin orcs.
Much appreciated. If there are skeletons here, we can always come back and deal with them. But my fear is that they are just the minions of something that's much larger. We're trying to cut the head of the snake off.
Yes, the head.
With that, with a rallying cry, I try to encourage everyone forward, especially the two of Killian's hirelings, Luca, Sven. I'm sure we'll find him again, and we'll rush off.
As you make your run through the grapes, nothing seems to happen. Not a single thing moves besides your force. You make it safely across the graveyard, and now you are standing before a single tunnel. The guiding lights lead into that tunnel.
We must be getting close. I move ahead, sword in hand this time.
As you continue with the gnolls and the orcs following you, you see an insane amount of tunnels leading in all directions, upwards, downwards, to the side, but the guiding lights keep you on your path.
I ignore all the other openings, single-mindedly focused on where the lights lead.
You continue through these long tunnels for a couple of hours. The gnolls and the orcs are getting a bit agitated. Grimrock has commented throughout this small journey through the labyrinth that there seem to be other beings within the tunnels. The gnolls smell them. They smell fishy, as he put it. And now you are before a dead end. The guiding lights lead into a wall. And before you lies a statue of what is surely Dagon, a sort of humanoid, monstrous humanoid with the parts of a fish. The waist seems to be some sort of section from a barracuda, and his face looks contorted, monstrous, with sharp teeth. Grimrock says, "It's a dead end."
Wait. Espen walks up to this profane statue of Dagon, getting a closer look at the statue, the plinth that it sits on, and the wall behind it.
It seems like the statue is slightly separated from the plinth.
As I suspected. I call over Nico, and then Sven and Luca grab some ropes. We'll toss them up over the top of this statue. Then tying them off, we lead them back to where the strong orcs are and gnolls. On my command, we'll pull this thing off, shatter it. Pull.
Everyone gets ready, waiting for your command.
Pull. Now.
They all pull, and the statue rotates. And then The section behind it collapses completely,
I turn
and
to
a
the orc.
tunnel is revealed.
I turn to the orc. I raise an eyebrow, brush my hand through my hair. Dead end? Now we're getting somewhere. Knowles, your nose. It's fish, isn't it?
The orc motions to the gnolls, exchanges some guttural words with them. They approach the opening, and they seem to be on high alert. They come back. They speak with Grimrock, and Grimrock says, "They are smelling a whole army of some sort of fishy monsters."
Looks like you're going to get your glorious combat after all.
"Yes, we must charge. Come on, give us the order."
Let's just, I like where your head's at, but just let me scout ahead just a moment to see exactly what it is that's waiting for us. Then we'll join in glorious combat side by side.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I enter the tunnel behind that's been revealed. Eyes searching the darkness with the little lights, looking for those lights to guide my steps as we get closer.
You see something beyond your wildest dreams. This cavern once again seems titanic, colossal, beyond anything you have seen before. It is impossible for you to estimate how tall the ceiling is. There are strange columns of all sorts of gemstone materials, amber, emerald, perhaps diamond. And there is this pulsating light, pulsating in and out from the walls. It blinks, providing just enough light to move here comfortably without any sort of torch or lantern. And at the distance, you see a huge palace. The architecture is too alien. It doesn't seem to be possible for someone to be able to build such a thing.
Yeah, not men, giants. That's our destination. Eston points with his sword to the palace. Now, before we storm this palace, my good orc friend, I want to make sure that they're not able to hide behind their walls. Stealth still makes sense. Let's move forward quickly, but try not to alert the defenders if there are any in that palace. And then Espen moves forward towards the palace.
"The weight is killing me." The orc motions for the others to follow carefully. As you approach the palace, the doors suddenly open, and you see an army, perhaps of 50 humanoids. They seem to be an aberration, combining parts of humans with some sort of fish with scaled skin and fleshy tentacles coming from near their mouths. They haven't spotted you yet because of your careful advance. They seem to be exposing their flank to you.
All right. I'll whisper to the orc. Get ready. As soon as we can rush them and take the palace gate, we go. And then I count out the seconds, watching before I give the command, and we all rush forward as one to take them by surprise and get into the palace.
And so it happens, and there is a clash. With their huge battle axes and cleavers, the orcs and gnolls start to carve their path through this alien force. One of the creatures, slightly larger and more agile, singles you out. Esben is now within the sights of this creature, and it has some sort of bone-shaped boomerang and throws it at you.
Espen slides forward underneath the boomerang, and then lunges with his blade at this hideous aberration's midsection.
It is a well-placed hit. Your sword skewers the creature, but it is still moving about, and with sharp claws it tries to reach into your head, but his head is cracked completely as an orc digs his axe into it.
I draw out my sword from the now dead foe, look at the orc, and nod my approval and thanks, then move on to the next enemy as we quick carve our way through.
With the support from the orcs and the gnolls, you easily make your way into this strange palace. And now you see a place with such stench. Probably lesser men would pass out from this. There are bats everywhere. This palace is so nonsensical. It is a huge hall with nothing but bats and containers. The smell is exactly the same as the so-called blood of Dagon.
Drink nothing. Touch as little as you can. This is all corrupted.
You notice that at the far end of this strange structure, there is a huge circular door. Seems to be the door to some sort of vault. And in front of the door, watching as their forces are decimated with ease, there are 3 cloaked individuals. The guiding lights lead towards those individuals, and you hear in your mind 2 messages: join us and join me.
I shake my head. There'll be none of that sorcery here. Pointing my sword, now covered in grime, at the 3 individuals, I call over to my orc ally, Nico, and Sven and Luca. Now we're getting somewhere. And then I walk confidently towards the 3.
Before you proceed further, Grimrock holds you by your shoulder and tells you, we still have 20 gnolls alive and 10 orcs.
Well, you have lost more men than we. I gladly cede you the honor. Those 3 should pay for their crimes. Pay in their blood. And then I step aside while the orcs and gnolls rush the 3.
The entire force clashes with these individuals, but the moment they get into melee distance, they all die. Every single orc and gnoll explodes into pieces. And the 3 cloaked individuals are just standing there. Only Esben and the 3 hirelings remain standing. One of the beings sends this telepathic message. He says, come closer, we can talk business.
I see what kind of business you talk, but horrified by the loss of all of our allies, who seem to have died to no effect, I motioned for the 3 hirelings to stay a little behind me as I walk slowly forward. Speak your business.
We have noticed your progress. This being has almost like a human voice to its message. The individual on the left sends another message, but it sounds, we are the puppet masters. You hear another message from the individual on the right side. We are here to rule over all. And once again, the individual in the middle says, We have been contacted by your friend, Killian, who is somewhere in another dimension, but yet in this same place. And he has told us a very disturbing message. He said that you discovered that Dagon, our Lord Dagon, is alive.
Yes, he is.
How can that be so? How can it be so? He is our Lord and Master.
You have been fooled. You have been lied to. I pull
Suddenly,
I with every ounce of charm and charisma I have, you must believe me. You have been fooled.
these three strange individuals seem to be having some sort of mental communication. They remove their robes, they reveal their heads and their faces. They are human, and yet strange fleshy tentacles come from their cheeks, and their eyes seem to have a certain pinkish, reddish tone to them, almost like a fluorescent light emanating from each eye. Very well. We shall reveal the truth about our Lord. They glance at the vault door and they seem to open it through some sort of mind trick. The vault is open. Follow us, but step where we step. We shall unravel this mystery for better or for worse.
I motion for the other three to follow carefully, in their steps only. As I move forward behind them, my hand goes into my vest where I can touch the finger of the giant or that guardian just to ensure that it's there. I remove it from my vest and then hide it in the sleeve of my shirt, my tunic.
As you proceed through the vault door, you see that there is another spiral staircase, but it is madness. The steps sometimes are on the ceiling, sometimes on the wall, and yet you are able to walk as if you were stepping on firm ground, not falling from it. As you continue, the three individuals motion you to stop, and
I
they
halt.
start to create some sort of strange fluorescent bluish platform, and they project it forwards. They turn to you, and through their minds they communicate. Get ready, because we are about to fall down. Keep walking, but brace yourself.
I pass that along quickly to the other three and get ready for for the fall.
As you continue, eventually you fall from these steps, but land safely on this platform. And so it starts to go down. It levitates downwards into this cavern of absolute darkness. One of these robed creatures projects this light so that you are able to appreciate the entirety of this zone. It is an even larger cavern than above. There is a dark sea beneath you, and you can see all sorts of strange creatures moving across its waters, barracuda-like. There are even some tentacles. The platform makes it to a sandy beach, and you arrive to what appears to have been a campsite. But that is not the most unnerving thing. Just 70 feet ahead from that campsite, there is an upside-down cathedral, the largest that you have ever seen. Entire castles pale in comparison to the size. And the top is actually at the bottom, and there is a massive set of double doors, completely open. The guiding lights still guide you into that place.
I step forward, keeping an eye on the three individuals, watching to see if they also step towards the open cathedral.
They seem to have perceived your intention, and you receive a mental communication from the more human sounding like. This was supposed to be the abbot of Dagon, but now I know that you were speaking the truth. There is something otherworldly, even beyond our understanding. You must let us walk forward, because otherwise you won't survive.
I make a flourish of a gesture for them to proceed, and kind of half bow. As I do that, I say, I told you at the beginning, I had no intention of misleading you. I spoke the truth, as you can see.
It appears so. So the individuals continue, and they make their way into this cathedral of madness. As soon as they step in, they disappear.
My hand drops to the hilt of my sword. I step forward cautiously till I get to the threshold of the door. As I'm at the threshold of the door, I peer into the cathedral, searching the darkness as much as I can.
Absolute darkness, but the guiding lights keep leading inwards.
I turn back to Nico, the others. I may disappear when I step through here. Follow regardless. And then I step over the threshold into the cathedral.
As soon as you do that, you now stand inside of a massive room. It is nonsensical. And at the top, there is this eye the size of a castle courtyard. The entire architecture is a thing of madness, combining pieces of flesh, melanoma, pieces of what seem to be ivory steps, ebony columns. This is mind-breaking. Your hirelings step behind you. They teleport into this room, and this massive eye at the top, pulsating alien with an ever-changing iris, looks at you and says, I have finally met you again, Avatar of Discordia.
Have you been the one that's been haunting our dreams? Is that you?
I've been everything, everywhere, everyone. And look, the eye turns to a corner, illuminating with a sort of fluorescent light, and you see the three robed individuals completely torn to pieces. Next to them, you see a huge skull, the size of a small cabin. The eye turns to look at you, and you hear this. You're not sure if you are hearing this through your ears or through your mind, but there is this clear communication. You have walked this path 6 times. It is now your fate to finally accept me. You are destined to be my vessel.
I surreptitiously step towards the skull of the giant, but I have questions. You say that I've been here 6 times. Now, you imply that I rejected you the previous times. Why was that?
Because of your ignorance. The moment you do just that, I just need to send you back in time so that you finally understand reason. You and your friend, I became aware of your presence when you defeated one of my children back in those ruins near Jarlsberg.
Oh, right. Okay. Now, please, your reason. If I'm to make some kind of choice here, I must understand more what you mean by reason. I take another few small steps towards the skull.
Everything in this life is ruled by discordia, conflicts. I am the one who creates wars. I cause disease. I cause sadness. Because without such things, there would be no happiness in this life.
Mm. So you're the opposition to stand in relief to all that's good in the world.
Surely you don't believe in the notions of goodness and gods? Your gods have long abandoned you. If you still think that Odin and Thor will rescue you, or even Loki, they have departed many aeons ago, and only I remain unopposed.
So you're the god of this. I look around the massive cathedral or this strange room with flesh all over. My eye catches Sven and Luca, our two clerics, and I just slightly shake my head, just slightly. No. So where did the gods go? I take 3 more steps towards the skull.
It is no concern of mine. They are the true aberration. Everything in this life is chaos, discordia, conflict. They wanted to bring order. Even Loki.
So you're originally from this area? You're the original? Is that what you're saying? You predate Odin and Loki and all of the others?
They are unruly children. If it were not for me, for my presence, they wouldn't even be born. But I must have your answer. Will you become my avatar and create chaos, war, conflict throughout this world?
What would I get?
Absolute power.
Power to do what? Just create wars and conflicts? It seems like those create themselves. You're assuming that order is the natural state, but isn't chaos the natural state?
Yes, and I am chaos. If I cease to exist, order will take over and there will be no life, no progress.
And this, I look around at the horrific room. This is your progress?
It is beautiful, is it not?
Well, it certainly is something. I make a couple steps, but then purposely stumble to one knee. Oh, I find this room very disorienting. You want my answer. I think I'm prepared to give it.
Very well.
As I down on one knee, kind of bent over a little bit, I retrieve from my sleeve the finger of the giant. As I stand up, I say, I secret that away into my right hand. I look up at the eye. Here's my answer. As I throw I say that, and as quick as I can, I throw the finger of the giant towards the skull, towards his skull, and then dive out of the direct gaze, or try to move quickly, and shout out to Nico and the others, keep moving.
As soon as you do just that, the eye immediately becomes aware of what you did. It projects some sort of beam towards the small finger, but it misses it completely, and it impacts the skull. Suddenly, the skull starts to apparently regenerate. Hair and flesh, muscles, eyes, they start to come to be, to manifest themselves. And A decapitated head, a bearded head with 3 eyes, one on the forehead, is now manifest completely. And it looks at the eye and projects some sort of strange purplish beam from its central eye and impacts the large eye in the ceiling. And the entire place shakes and collapses. In the blink of an eye, the entire cathedral, the entire cavern implodes and nothing is left. Several days go by since the disappearance of Killian and Esben. Jarlsberg received their message, thankfully thanks to the ranger and Vivian. And so they marched into Brickshire under the excuse of conspiracy being carried against the king. They took advantage of the conflicts between the Blood-Eye Orcs, the Scorched Hand Orcs, and the Keep at the North. The Jarlsberg army took advantage of such weakness. They marched forcefully into the keep, only to discover that both Uther and his nephew had been murdered by Barclay. They also uncovered the cult. Brother Aemon was in a panic as the troops marched in, and his messages, his honeyed words, were useless. Brickshire was completely conquered by Jarlsberg. They took control of the entire zone, the entire region. But now, even though Jarlsberg has secured its position, there is great mourning, for Councillor Heinrich has disclosed that a group of brave heroes and adventurers had moved to unravel this conspiracy, but they were nowhere to be seen. They were considered missing in action. And so a monument was erected for them. This seems to be the start of Jarlsberg becoming a true power in the world. However, many orc tribes to the west, and even some human populations, have started to worship a strange liquid that was distributed some time ago. They are drinking the liquid, and obtaining strange revelations of a mysterious eye. And this concludes the campaign. We are out of character.
Nice.
Wow, that was incredibly challenging.
That was challenging.
When Josh disconnected, I had to.
I know that was impressive, Abraham, that you were able to suddenly shift on your feet. And poor Josh, I feel really bad for him. His internet just cut out. It's just one of those things. Mm-hmm. Terrible timing, and I feel really bad that he missed out on the big climactic thing at the end. And that was a lot of fun. That was great. I appreciate that. That was a lot of fun. If I understand it correctly, this entity underground was kept on sending us back. Those visions that we were getting were
previous realities, like
that we had taken. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And, yes. And can you disclose what he told me his ultimate plan? He was telling us the truth, I suppose. And
he was actually pretty honest, because mm-hmm. he had grown arrogant. He is like an embodiment of Discordia, but in his ego, he started to share some traits with the other deities. Right. And so he was actually looking for someone to serve as a vehicle. He actually couldn't leave the place with the cathedral. He was looking for either of you, Esben or Killian, to become like the avatar, but you had rejected him the other times, and he kept sending you back,
right,
and back and back.
Right. Awesome. That was great. Appreciate that. That was a lot of fun. I, again, feel bad for Josh. That just really stinks, but hopefully you can hopefully you can watch the recap and get the idea of what happened. So
yes, and you could have achieved that, I mean, an even better ending, mm-hmm. because there was this like a grove somewhere in the southeast forests, mm-hmm. where you had these maple branches. Oh, and you had secured one of these maple branches that was actually like connected to Yggdrasil, to the world tree. That was one way
Okay.
of achieving a happier ending. You could have planted the branch in that section of the cathedral, and a tree would sprout, destroying everything, but taking you to the safety of the upper
Oh,
world.
okay. So to actually live through it. Okay. Okay.
And if you had managed to um, get Lothian involved,
hmm
he could have also snapped out of his trance. For example, if you brought the branch to Lothian, or perhaps knowledge about the giants, he
Okay.
would become sane for a moment, and he would create some sort of formula to keep him sane enough to guide you and to face off against these, like the three puppet masters that were incredibly overpowered.
Yeah.
He could have fought against them, and even he could have taken you to the cathedral and created some sort of spell to destroy it and take you to safety. But
Okay.
powerful as he was, that was why Brother Aemon was so eager to get him hooked on the substance. He actually started to put it in his drink, in his food,
Okay.
everywhere. Yeah.
So the three puppet masters, they weren't. It seemed like they weren't quite aware of the eye. They
They
weren't.
thought it was Dagon,
Oh,
but
okay.
it was this.
Okay. And they weren't suitable as we were, obviously, as the heroes to be minions of that creature. They just
Yes,
assumed it was
because
Dagon.
they were obsessed with controlling everyone. That was like their thing. They wanted to control everyone.
Right.
But when
Whereas
it comes
Dagon
to
didn't want control. He just wanted chaos and conflict. Okay.
uh-huh.
Or not Dagon, sorry. The entity.
Discordia, as they call it.
Discordia. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's why I think in one of the visions they had said that, something about Discordia. But
Mhm.
okay.
So.
Oh, that was cool. I appreciate that, Abraham. That was a lot of fun. That was awesome. Good practice too, which is what I needed. So that's great.
Yes, thanks. Do you have like constructive criticism about this session?
The only thing that I would potentially change is, I think it's like I could see when you were rolling, because I could see your hand drop to your dice and do that. I think that it would be nice in a perfect world if the players could roll without rolling too often. Then that would be. But I understand, as you had explained before we started recording, that it's basically a one roll mechanic. You describe what it is you're doing, and then it's one roll. So
you mean more like criticism of the system?
Yeah, it's not a bad system. I think the system's fine. It's just that it's all behind the curtain, so to speak. And so it would be nice to. That's easy to fix. I just have to buy the system. So then then I would know what the system is.
And sometimes I was just rolling just to give the impression. I wasn't even looking. Just
absolutely. That's a great thing to do. Absolutely. But no, I appreciate you kind of putting on a clinic on how to do it, and I thought it was great. It was really good, and it was nice to meet you and Josh, and yeah, it's hard to believe that we got through it as quickly as we did. How long did it take your in-person group to do this?
Well, it was like 7 months, but we sometimes only played once a month.
Oh, okay.
And they really went the other route completely. They were constantly in Compton. They moved to another place called Halford. They actually rescued Compton because they actually went with the orcs that they were slaughtered at the beginning. And they went back with the orcs and they defended Compton. Compton was a bit devastated, but it still survived the attack.
Okay.
Then they got with this other guy, a very rich guy called Darius Hightower in the west, because if you had explored the keep a bit more, you would have contacted Aidan, the nephew of Uther. And if you contact Aidan, he would have told you, hey, get the help from Darius Hightower in the southwest. He can, he suspects something was happening. So in the other group, they led an entire army against the keep, and they defeated Barclay, Aemon, etc. However, they made a mistake. They thought that Lothian was the main villain, Lothian.
Oh, okay.
Because they went and you see the state he looks pretty crazy. So they killed him kill him quickly before he casts a spell upon us, and they killed him. And there is an even incriminatory section of the room. There is this wall. When you click on it, it reveals a secret passageway into the tunnel. So they thought, oh, that's how he was mobilizing the orcs and the liquid. But they got a bit like a bad ending because, like, oh yeah, we did it, right? But the cult is still down there.
Oh, so they didn't actually get down to that upside down cathedral and the
No, their
the
ending was like, oh, they put Aidan, Uther's nephew,
Yeah.
in charge because Uther has been assassinated, and
Right.
they went back to Brickshire, to Jarlsberg, and they
Yeah.
were, oh, and everything seems so peaceful. But then I said, and yet strange happenings have been going on. People have
Right.
been having, yeah.
Right. Right. Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. It sounds like there were many possible endings to the adventure. So that was good. No, that was great. I learned a lot. It was great practice, and it was a lot of fun. It was great.
Yes, thanks for playing, Crispy.
Yes,
I
my
don't know.
pleasure.
I don't know if you are interested, but in the next week we're going to run a horror one shot this Tuesday. But I think you were running your games in Tuesday, right?
Yeah, Tuesday's a
So,
conflict for me. I have my in-person game, and that's kind of my priority at the moment. But thank you very much for the invite. It's very kind of you to invite me. So,
okay, well, it's been great. Thank
It
you for
has been.
participating in this. Was pretty a successful and long campaign.
Yeah, it was. It
Satisfactory.
was great. Yeah, I thought it went really well. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my character too. I thought he was fun. He was a bit of a character, bit of a card at times, but I thought it was good. I liked him.
And he died a hero, even if that wasn't his original plan.
And it's for a sword fighter to go down as a hero or almost a hero, and we didn't get all the good things, but we got enough of them. I think he'd be quite happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you to everyone who has been watching this entire campaign. Thank you so much for seeing things through to the end. As always, if you have any comments or questions, please let us know in the description, in the comment section. And if you want to support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. As always, thank you for watching. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. And we're going to stop the recording in a few seconds.